I would suggest, go ahead. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, I do agree that most states have it, but that's about where, that's about the end of the agreement from what Secretary Hanger said. What we have here is certainly a structure, both the legislative and the regulatory structure, that has not yet been modernized, and we really need to work on those issues. So those other states that do have severance taxes, they also have gotten their act together on a lot of these other issues that we haven't yet. Tonight already, the Clean and Green legislation was mentioned. There are quite a few other statutes that need to be modernized that simply, when they were written, there wasn't an envision that we'd be doing horizontal drilling. So the vast majority of those states that have a severance tax have also gotten their act together to modernize those statutes. And I guess I don't look at the severance tax so unidimensionally as the question, I guess, was posed. Pennsylvania needs to have a competitive climate for growth. That involves a whole lot of different things for any industry, but certainly for one that's making huge capital investments. The Marcellus play is not the only game in town. It's one of many shale plays around the country, and as I follow rig count trends, there's some are being pulled away because of a new shale play that's also been world class. And so I think what we have to do is put this into context, that just saying when we only are in the second year, let's say, of this development, and not even halfway to the steady state, that now is the time to put a severance tax on. I think Pennsylvania should or deserves to have a better reputation in this global market for capital. And in looking at a severance tax should be done in the context of all these other things, and not lead. We shouldn't lead with a tax. A tax should be part of a modernized, competitive framework that tells the world that Pennsylvania's got its act together. We're interested in attracting this capital. The West Virginia model that was proposed is about the most uncompetitive model in the country. The ones that have worked on a much more progressive way of taxing look at capital recovery periods. Texas has multiple years of a no tax until that capital is recovered. Arkansas, the most recent severance tax model in the country, has a 3-year suppressed rate at 1.5% that only goes to, on the 4th or the 5th year, only goes up to a higher rate once the capital and the huge amount of capital that's being invested is recovered. So Chesapeake may be across all of their company making those kind of returns, but those are not yet happening in Pennsylvania, and I personally would love to have Pennsylvania be sending the right message to the industry, as opposed to just let's put another tax on. A couple other points. Senator Yaw mentioned the $1 billion that is being collected this year in 2010 by the state and local governments in Pennsylvania by the activities of this industry. That comes from a lot of different places, taxes that other businesses pay, in addition to the fees that we've already talked about, and in addition to the lower costs that we all can pay on natural gas. Today at the PUC hearing, the Public Utility Commission, the consumer advocate talked about the benefits to consumers by having lower priced natural gas. So there are a lot of other ways for us all to profit from this than simply a tax. And I think that conversation has to be much more broad than that approach. And I guess the only other thing that I want to make sure and reinforce is these are private dollars. This industry is not coming and asking for special treatment, is not coming and saying we need a new program or we need new tax dollars to pay for startup costs. This is being done with private capital, and I think that is something that we sometimes lose sight of when we talk about revenue to the public sector. We are creating wealth through many different venues here, and our industry looks at let's grow this whole pie together. Let's do a tax that looks right at the right time, at the right stage of growth, and it's a little early to be jumping to that end point right now.
Well, if there's another proponent of the tax, I'll let them go. Otherwise, I'd like to say a few things in response. Is anybody else on the side of the tax? I didn't think so.
I will, but you can, go ahead, I'll wait till you're done.
Well, one other thing that I think we do have to put on the table before you comment is the constitutionality that we need to deal with of taxing one industry for extraction. We don't have an extraction tax in this state for coal. We don't have an extraction tax in this state for timber. You know, it seems very convenient to all get all excited about this additional revenue for lots of good viable uses, but let's think about, again, why are we doing this, and is it really going to result in more economic activity? Economics 101 says that you tax something, you get less of it. I'd rather see us get more of economic activity and do it in a way that doesn't get caught up in the courts because we're taxing one resource and not another.